Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual, we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because life's about learning lessons and growing and healing and maturing yourself. And some people have learned to be more just and fair and inspired and motivated by love. And some people aren't. And some people never will be. And some people just got some growing up to do. So we can all harness our own Sagittarius energy differently depending on what motivates and inspires us. So we're going to read it from those different perspectives. And at the end, we're going to ask what could be a possible outcome for people depending on if they harness a more high vibe or a more worldly or shadowy Sagittarius. And it's all kind of relative. You could know some people that you think are bossy or controlling or immature, prideful, egotistical, something. And those people in turn could know people in their life that they feel are like that. So, everybody could have learned some more lessons than some other people, but we're kind of looking to find people who are kind of on the same page at the same time as we are in the lessons that we've learned. And if you're more motivated by truth and love and justice and fairness, and other people are more about themselves or their ego or indulgence or materialism, and that's the most important thing in their life, it's just to see the truth of it, get out of our ego about it, accept the truth, because the truth sets us free. Okay. So I look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading. And this card, in some other decks, there's a card that talks about the garden and the gate. And the whole thing is, are we willing to move forward in life, believe that we're ready to go to that next phase of life, and the way that we know how to live life, which might be kind of feel abundant, because we can all want to stay in our comfort zone, because to move forward in life differently, we kind of have to face our fears and things like that. To believe that we can take what we've learned in this environment to move forward in life differently, go out there in the world more, and believe that we can create that same type of abundance out in the world. And Libra energy can have to do with what our truth is and what we think is just and fair. And the card behind that coming up is the short illness. Let's see. Oh, and then the enemy. Whenever we try to move forward in life, our own shadow nature, which can be the short illness and the enemy, our own shadow nature tries to get us up in our head and our fear and our insecurity. You should go back and do things the way we know how to do it, and let's not step out of our comfort zone. And there can be other people in the world who want to be the next person to try to be deceptive or manipulative in your life, right? But we stay focused on the good news. It's kind of like the Ace of Swords. We stay focused on truth and love to work through our own fears and insecurities, maybe having learned lessons about people who are more deceptive or manipulative and prideful and egotistical and immature. And we take the lessons that we've learned to keep maintaining balance within ourselves, not letting our own shadowy nature kind of tip us out of balance, not let other shadowy people in the world tip us out of balance, and we keep staying focused on truth and love. And then we have the ending card, which is like the death card in tarot, which is transforming our life. Detaching from an old way of viewing life, an old way of living life, an old way of being and thinking and perceiving ourselves in the world around us. And it transforms our whole life. And then with this being like a feminine figure in white, the feminine figures can talk about how we think and feel. It's kind of like we've given birth to a brand new us. The person that we used to be, we've shed that layer of ourselves because we were willing to wrap our brain around this game of life. Sagittarius is about higher learning and education. I learned lessons in life. I learned what I needed to learn there. I saw the truth of what I needed to emotionally detach from, and now I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And then we have the bouquet card, taking the lessons we've learned to move forward in life differently. And there's going to be some other people in the world. You know, we have our dualistic nature, our more high vibe nature, our more worldly, shadowy nature, and we have different people in our life. The people in our life who are more shadowy or manipulative or whatever, they want us to keep living life like they live it, or the way we have been living it, and keep hanging out with them. But if we've already been there and done that, and we've offered them love and encouragement and truth to move forward with us, maybe in a more just and fair and balanced way, and they don't want to do that, you know, the truth could be what stops them from moving forward. And it could be in how people harness their Virgo energy. And we all tap into Virgo energy, and we're either more motivated and inspired to free ourselves from things that manipulate us, learn lessons in life, and keep growing and maturing ourselves to grow to our full potential. And other people could be more motivated by themselves or the world, and they don't want to detach from those ways of viewing life, and that's fine. They have free will. They can live their life whatever way they want. But some people have realized, kind of in the death card, that nothing new grows here. You know, it's kind of like we keep doing the same thing over and over. There is a lack of motivation to do things any different or grow or heal, or, you know, if there's people in my life who just want to make their life about being indulged or indulging in certain things or making their life about certain things, and I'm kind of more motivated maybe to face my fears, to expand my perception of myself and the world around me, and not make my life just so much about those things. You know, there's going to be people who aren't going to like it, and there's going to be people, some people will be fine with it. Hey, you go live your life and I'll go live my life, and with some of those people, you'll be fine. You don't expect people to have to live life the way you live it. It's just more challenging if it is like a close friend or a romantic relationship, because you did want them to move forward with you, and they might not. And sometimes that's kind of when we go different paths in life, and maybe at some future point in time we'll come back together, but maybe we won't, right? But everybody's going to do what they think is just and fair, and probably what makes them feel kind of balanced within themselves. You know, if we're not ready to move forward in life differently, we're not. And if we were to try to force people to live their life in a way that they're not, it would kind of throw them out of balance because they're just not ready for moving forward in life differently. You know, they're going to do what makes them feel stable and balanced within themselves to whatever degree of however they're living their life. So we start out with the Trumpet card, which is fire sign energy. Sagittarius is fire sign energy, along with Aries and Leo energy. You know, in our more, the enemy and the short illness can talk about how we are more caught up in these things of the world, all these things we go indulge in to make us happy, or making our life more about ourselves or money or materialism or something, because that's what drives and motivates us in our fire sign energy. And we've all been there. You know, we grow up in the world, and the world tells us that we should make our life about all these certain things. If we do that, we'll feel abundant and happy within ourselves. It'll be everything we ever wanted. It's just that some people already made their life kind of about those things, either things they went and indulged in or something. And, you know, it's kind of seeing through the illusion of the world, all these things that I thought were so important, and it could have been how I defined myself and my worth and value. But I'm so much more than that. You know, I'm more than what I wear. I'm more than what I drive. I'm more than if I'm in a relationship or not in a relationship, how much money I have. You know, I'm a creative, inspired human being. I have a lot of abundance, you know, because You could be abundant in love, empathy, encouragement, being just and fair. Other people just might have those things of the world, and they could lack compassion, love, being just and fair. There's people in different areas of the spectrum, and people could have been more fired up to invest their time and energy. That's like Virgo energy, what we invest our time, energy, and effort into. Some people invested a lot of time and energy into having a certain status or image or social clout or money or power or what they look like or something, And other people could have been more balanced, where do I want some of these things in the world? And do I think, to a degree, yes, these things can be important in my life too. But I also think just and fair and authentic and loving relationships are equally as important. That's what brings true abundance. Balance. Libra energy is represented by the scales of justice, but we can be tipped out of balance, where we can either be overindulging in our loving nature to other people, because we could be a very abundant person in love, but it's maybe not balanced, so we can indulge people in their poor behavior, trying to motivate other people to love and believe in themselves. And then other people are more about themselves, and, things like that. So then we have the key card, basically. What do we think is the key to maybe kind of getting what we want? I kind of view the marriage card as a Two of Cups. And with our dualistic nature of free will, we can love and align with our more hopeful, believing, loving nature, creative, inspired, having hope and faith and belief. Or we can align with and love our more worldly, shadowy nature, And shadowy energy can be, I'm going to use my resources, my emotions, my sexuality, my charm, my charisma, my words, my money, my sexuality, all these things. I'm going to use all these things maybe in a more deceptive way. The masculine figures can represent people operating more from their ego, whether they're male or female. People can present themselves as being, I am the key to love. You should get in a relationship with me. But emotionally, they could really be more about themselves, or money, or materialism, or status, or image, lust, greed. Other people offer people like a golden opportunity to grow and heal and mature themselves with love. They're stable, they're grounded, they're insightful, they're balanced, they're loving, they're abundant in a variety of ways. And sometimes people who are kind of on opposite sides of the spectrum, kind of like an empath narcissist dynamic, some people who could have their idea and their truth about what they think is just and fair is that if I have these certain traits or assets, I think people should want to be in a relationship with me and stay in a relationship with me because, maybe more though that I have these things of the world that they want. High vibe people could think people should want to be in a relationship with me and stay in a relationship with me because I'm just and fair and loving and encouraging, But high vibe people come to see the truth that not everybody is motivated and inspired by love. Sometimes you get in relationships with people and they can think that you're motivated more by the things they're motivated by. You could think they're motivated by the things that you're motivated by. And then as we go in a relationship, we have the dog and the key again. And the reason it came out is because of the fulfillment card. The shadowy people could think more that since they think what they have is more important, they can think that they should be indulged and you should indulge them. Because shadowy relationships are more transactional relationships. Because love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat each other the way you like to be treated. But that isn't how some people, they have a different idea of what they think is just and fair in a relationship. And if you're not more balanced within yourself and more inspired by truth and love and have been enlightened that that is what makes it all worthwhile, some people think it should still be more about them, and they think that's just and fair because they value these, either they're narcissistic and egotistical and self-centered and immature, or they just think people should indulge them in a relationship because they indulge themselves. They think it's just and fair, so they think other people should think it's just and fair to indulge them. And then they think people, they could not really even dismiss or discredit. It's like they have this nature within them where they could be more hopeful and believing and loving. But some people prefer to live more from their defensive, egoic nature. If I do love, I could get hurt. And I've maybe been hurt before, so I don't want to do that. So I decided, I have an idea. That's kind of like the key card also. Like, I have an idea. I'm going to make my life more about, I kind of view the fulfillment card as kind of like a Nine of Cups card. I'm just going to create this illusion that I'm this more just and fair and stable and grounded and loving person, so people will get in a relationship with me. But I've decided to, my shadowy nature runs my life. I've had the idea that I'm going to put an end to my more hopeful, believing nature. And I'm going to move forward in my more worldly view of life. And it's more about me indulging myself in a relationship. But I'll just, you're either being authentic and honest, which is high vibe Leo energy, which is the key card, said Leo energy. You're either being authentic and you're being, high vibe Leo is being like loving and warm and encouraging, being authentically yourself, living your authentic life. High vibe energy, like the Nine of Cups, and high vibe Virgo energy is about being more independent of your shadowy nature and your immature nature and your bossy and your controlling and your self-centered nature. You've learned to invest in detaching from being more about yourself and aligning with your shadowy nature. And you do align with your more hopeful, believing nature. And you are enlightened to the truth that if you want justice in the world, if you want to be in more just, fair, authentic, loving relationships, that's the type of person you should be. But again, some people think they can kind of cheat the system. I think I've figured out how to cheat the system. I'm going to get in relationships with people operating more from my shadow nature, indulge myself in relationships for as long as the people I'm in a relationship with. The crossroads also says Libra energy, which of course reminds me of the Two of Swords, which can be people who don't know the truth about them. They don't know the truth about me, that I just create this illusion that I'm this more just, fair, stable, grounded, balanced, loving person. And I will move forward in a relationship, create the illusion I'm on the same page as them. That's my dream too. I want to be in that kind of relationship. That's how I live my life. And I'll do that until they see the truth. And they could have also thought, some people in the world, they're no longer in denial about the truth. Because some people could be more immature, some people could be more bossy and controlling, egotistical, materialistic. But everybody could have thought, if I meet the right person, then I will give up my more immature ways of being, or being a player, or, like I'll just change my ways, right? And then they can get in relationships with people who are more independent, loving, and encouraging. But the opposite of high vibe Leo energy is our shadow nature, which also can be competitive. And sometimes when people get in relationships, they can be drawn and attracted to people because in their fire sign energy of self, we all tap into fire sign energy, you could be charming, you could be attractive, you could have an air about you, you could be bold and brave or confident, you could be someone who is more independent, and initially people can kind of be attracted to that. And kind of in a way, sometimes people are willing to maybe indulge you a little bit more because they want to seem like that type of person. And if they were to get in a relationship, then it kind of seems like they're that kind of person. And they can want to create that illusion in the world. But then as time goes by, then they can feel stuck, is what the Two of Swords talks about. That I'm kind of feel stuck about continuing to move forward with them because I might have been able to create an illusion that I'm like those people. But now if they keep healing and growing and maturing themselves and working through their pain, their heartbreak, their fears, their insecurities to go to the next level of life, where they're shedding another layer of themselves to give birth to a new version of themselves. And we did that age 15 going to 18, 18 going to 21, 21 going to 25. We lived our life, a certain phase of life, and then we could have felt a little stuck, and we had our fears and insecurities about moving forward in life differently. And the high vibe people are kind of inspired to work through those things because they don't like feeling manipulated by their fear and their insecurity, and they kind of believe in themselves, and I believe I can. Other people in the world have acted more like an 18-year-old and, taken on more responsibility in their life and in their job and become more independent. I am inspired to do that too. And so then they do that, and then they do kind of shed an old layer of themselves, and they're kind of not the same person they were before. And they kind of have no interest. I mean, just like, when you were 15 and 18 and 21 and 25, you don't really have an interest of going back and living life like a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old, right? It's like I've already been there and done that. I'm motivated to keep high vibe Sagittarius and the pentacles of Virgo energy, which I'm viewing the Great Fortune as like the 10 of Pentacles. I could have liked a way of life. Like it was perfect and just and fair when we were 15 to indulge and live our life like a 15-year-old. But if we keep staying there, it keeps us stuck, and it is more because of our fear and insecurity and our fear of change that we keep kind of repeating an old pattern. And just like that happened when we were 15 and 18 and 21 and 25, I think those kind of transition points continue to happen in our life because we kind of go into a phase of life or even getting a new job, right? And we're hoping it's going to keep moving forward kind of at a pace that we're comfortable with. And then there can come a time where either we feel stuck again and it's like, maybe I got to go get a different job, but I'm scared about getting a different job because then I'd have to leave this job and I don't know what'll happen if I go get a new job. And the same thing in friendship groups. Like, I used to really like this friendship group, but as time has went by, some of those people might still like, let's do this every Friday night and let's do this all the time. And it's kind of like, your intuition is telling you it's time to move forward in life differently. And then I think the high vibe people offer love and encouragement to the people in their life. Let's go try this, and maybe we should go do this on Friday night instead. And, aren't you kind of tired of doing that same thing all the time? And some of those people could have their fear of change and they might not want to do it. And then some of those people won't like that you kind of are motivated to do other things, and people can get in their ego about it. It's like, well, why do you want to go do those other things? Why don't you like this anymore? It's like, well, I did. And, but you do anything kind of long enough. It's like, can't we go try something new and expand our horizons, and we might find out there's something else that really inspires us to want to invest time, energy, and effort into it. But we don't even know if we're not even willing to try. And some people, that is outside their comfort zone. And some people like to stay in denial of the truth. Some people don't listen to their intuition, which is what the Two of Swords can talk about. Their intuition could be telling them you're staying and repeating some of these old patterns out of your fear or your insecurities. But we have the free will to stay stuck and see that in the death card, like, there is nothing new growing here, and I'm not growing, and I'm not healing, or I'm not maturing, and you could look at human beings almost as being like a tree, say an apple tree where you could grow to 30, 35 feet tall and make 1,000 apples, and an apple tree doesn't have free will, so it tries to find the light and does everything it can to grow to its full potential. But we as human beings, we can be like, I'm 15 feet tall and I have 100 apples, I'm good. It's like, you could grow to 30 feet tall and have 1,000 apples. You could give those apples away to others. Kind of like, some people don't let out their more authentic, loving nature. And that can be kind of selfish with your energy, right? And some people is just like, I don't value that. If I look like I'm doing okay and everything's fine, I'm fine. And that's fine. They can live their life like that. It's just that some people felt shadowy energy of the short illness and the enemy. Our own shadow nature wants us to be in our fear and our insecurity and our lust and our greed and our pride and our ego and our pettiness and our envy and our jealousy and blaming everyone else for our problems. Our high vibe energy wants us to put in this work and effort to be more inspired, to free ourselves from things that manipulate us, to be more independent of those things that manipulate us, to listen to our intuition, to get more balanced within ourselves, to face our fears, to be free to live our more authentic life without being manipulated by all those things within us and other people in our life and the world, to live our authentic truth from love, because love is the highest energy of all, and to live our authentic life. But some people could really be afraid of being judged. Maybe that other people in their life wouldn't like it if they were to move forward in life differently. People can have friends or family members that, if you go live your life differently and you don't live your life like this and you don't live your life like we live our life, or indulge in these things that we indulge in, or make your life more about your ego or the world or whatever we indulge our life in, well, then we'll be mad at you. And some people aren't willing to become independent of those people. And part of it is because they kind of align maybe with that way of thinking themselves. And if they have people in their life that, like, if they don't move forward in this way, they're not going to move forward in that way. Some people ended up having to see the truth that, I always thought I was more independent and maybe more just and fair and maybe more inspired by truth and love. But then when I had the opportunity, there was these things I needed to deal with within myself. And you have to invest time, energy, and effort to work through those things emotionally. And it takes a lot of work and effort emotionally to work through those things that manipulate you. And you have to be willing to deal with the truth. And that can be a stumbling block for some people because they don't like seeing the truth that maybe I'm more bossy or controlling or egotistical or self-indulgent or materialistic than I like to acknowledge. Maybe I have people in my life that I love, and I don't like to see the truth that they're kind of bossy or controlling or indulgent or manipulative or more materialistic than I like to see the truth of. And so then some people will just put an end to moving forward in life differently, put an end to the truth, and they'll just keep moving forward, living life the way they live it. And for some people, they just don't want to change and they don't want to step out of their comfort zone. And, if they're more still motivated by these things of the world, that's still what more drives them. And other people, kind of in their fire sign energy, are more inspired to not have those things manipulate them and live their more authentic truth and life. So what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Sagittarius energy that are tired of feeling stuck or manipulated? We have the Emperor and the Seven of Wands. Why? Because of the Eight of Cups and the Knight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. For a long time, the Emperor energy is fire sign energy also, and it can be, where we're kind of caught up in ourselves and all these things of the world. The Eight of Cups is going to the Nine of Cups. All these things we want to go indulge in the world. And that could have been us in our more immature player ways is what shadowy Sagittarius is. And kind of being defensive to becoming independent of that way of living life. I like it more about me. And some people are still struggling with that because they still want it to be more about them. And if they get in relationships with people, they want to keep being defensive. And, maybe being defensive is what makes them feel safe and secure. In our shadowy, kind of the Leo energy that we were talking here, I can be defensive in my egoic nature of letting my more hopeful, believing, authentic, loving nature out to play in the world. And because of it, it kind of keeps them stuck in situations. And they kind of keep giving in to indulging themselves and indulging others. And some of you, high vibe Leo, also is about being illuminated to the truth. You could have been in relationships with people that you were trying to encourage them to love themselves, to maybe stand up for themselves, make better decisions in their life. Love and believe in themselves, that they have their own dreams and their dreams can be different than other people's dreams. And just because other people live their life a certain way, if that's not your truth and what motivates and inspires you, why make your life more about conforming to the world or others? Live your authentic truth from love. Be more independent. Be more inspired to... High vibe Sagittarius is looking at life as an adventure to be lived. And I've had lots of lessons to learn. And as I go through life, part of the process is maybe getting out of being more caught up in myself and the world to want a more just and fair and stable and inspiring jobs, friendships, and relationships that are authentic. You know, how many jobs did we take when we were young, or even maybe get in friendship groups with people because we wanted a job, we wanted to be in a friendship group, but maybe some of those people really weren't kind of, it maybe could have been just and fair at that time, or sometimes it was more because fear of listening to our own intuition. But anyway, eventually some high vibe people could have seen the truth that some people keep indulging themselves, and they decided to stand up for themselves. I don't want to be in relationships with people who are defensive, who kind of are either bossy or controlling or hurtful or unkind. And they could think it's just and fair. I don't think it's just and fair. And so then you had to do this work within yourself to love and believe in yourself. And that's also like high vibe Leo energy. To give yourself what you wish other people would have given you. Being like your own best mother, father, coach voice in your head. And I am inspired to become more independent of my own shadow nature. Because when I'm in shadowy energy, there's other people that would be happy to be in a relationship with me because I am, because they are too. And then I can move forward in those relationships. And I maybe wasn't listening to my intuition. I didn't want to see the truth because I could have been attracted to people. I thought I knew best. I wanted to go indulge in that, even though my intuition could have been telling me, this isn't a good idea. You shouldn't do this. They're not on the same page. I think these people are driven and motivated by different things than you are. I think they have a different idea of what's just and fair. I think they might be more self-focused or materialistic focused than love-focused. But, you know, we got those lessons learned. And high vibe people learn those lessons. And it's like, I'm looking for someone who's more on the same page as me, who is more independent of their worldly egoic nature, or this idea of what they think is just and fair in a relationship, that they do think it is kind of maybe more about them instead of being just and fair, and like other people are supposed to put in the work and effort and they just get to indulge themselves in the relationship because they think you'll never walk away because you wanted a dream to come into reality with them and you like them or you love them. But you know, eventually enough's enough and people decide to stand up for themselves. And they communicate with the people in their life that, you know, I'm moving forward in making better decisions in my life. High vibe emperor, as I have learned these lessons, letting my heart run my life, my mind, my worldly nature, my passionate nature. And I need to be in relationships with other people who've learned those same lessons. And it might be seeing the truth that some people harness their Sagittarius energy in a more immature way. And they still got some lessons to learn in life. I would view kind of the bouquet card could be like the Knight of Pentacles. This is the Knight of Wands. And the Emperor is above a king and a queen. And anyone can harness that energy, male or female. But I've learned lessons, again, letting my heart run my life, letting my mind run my life, letting my defensive nature, my passionate nature, my worldly nature. And with all these lessons, I have seen and been illuminated to the truth that I need to be inspired to love myself, free myself from my more worldly egoic nature, if I want to feel at peace within myself and balance within myself. And I have to quit indulging myself in poor behavior, and I have to quit indulging other people in their poor behavior. And I need to make these good decisions in my life to stand up for what I believe in, or I'm going to be investing my time, energy, and effort into people who've maybe already shown me that they don't do that. You know? And there's some people who don't want to do that. I just want to make decisions about myself. But if you're going to work together with other people in relationships and present yourself as this emotionally mature, just and fair person, when you make decisions in your life, you are supposed to take those people into consideration. And some people chose to make some bad decisions to indulge themselves in some self-indulgent behavior of some sort. And some high vibe people in their life saw it, and they saw the truth that those people weren't who they thought they were. They had some things that they had not emotionally detached from, which is kind of like, say someone acts in a way like, oh my gosh, yeah, this kind of behavior I put up with in relationships when I was 15 or 18 or 21 or 25. And I'm not that age, and the people I'm in relationship with are not that age, but yet they're acting like that. No thanks. Thank you for showing me the truth of who you are, and you can go find someone else to be in a friendship or relationship with, or find someone else to work with you at this job. But if you are going to act in these kind of more immature ways of being, I do not want to be in that environment. I'm going to stand up for myself. And even though there's a part of me in my more immature, shadowy Sagittarius energy, but I like them, but I love them, or I'm attracted to them, or whatever. No. My more independent nature and my being inspired to stand up for my truth stops me and other people from taking more immature action in their life. And they keep moving forward, and with the people in their life that are being just and fair and authentic and loving and encouraging, those are the people they're going to keep working with. And the people in their life who chose not to act in that way, those people can go find someone else to get in a relationship with. And you're moving on. And I think as people move forward in that energy, there's going to be other people that have gone through similar life experiences, and people in your life that are willing to stand up for you and are inspired by you and want to move forward with you because they too have dealt with people who are more indulgent and immature or manipulative. And they see that you are someone who's being authentic and encouraging and loving and all those good things. And just like those people want to be in a relationship with you and friendships with you, there's always shadowy people that want to be the next person to be able to indulge in a relationship with you. And you're just going to listen to your intuition. You know, you're going to not kind of take more impulsive action towards people. You are going to make these good decisions in your life and stand up for what you believe in. Not just anybody can like come into your life and you're going to, you know, we have different ways of being with people in the world. We all know people at work and in our community. And, we have cordial relationships with people. And I think you're going to do that until you find out the truth in high vibe Leo energy, until I'm illuminated to the truth about, like, why'd you leave whatever you were in? Tell me what you've learned in your life experience. Did you just leave something and now you want to come indulge in a relationship with me? No thanks. Because immature people will come to indulge and then they'll go back to go try to find someone else to indulge in. Because they're really not who they present themselves as being. And you're looking for other people that have learned these lessons. And as you meet other people like that, the other high vibe people don't want to jump in a relationship either because they've done that before. And they kind of maybe didn't listen to their intuition. Maybe let their more fire sign, passionate nature kind of run their life. And they got burned. And they don't want to do that again. So they have learned these lessons also. I am going to invest time, energy into people being loving and supportive and encouraging like I am with all sorts of people in my life. to get to the truth. Have they changed? Are they someone who has kind of got these same ways of being as other people? Or are they other people like me that have kind of transformed their life, become more independent, ready to give birth to something new? Or do they just want to repeat an old pattern? Because I don't want to repeat an old pattern. I've already been there and done that. So what's coming up for people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy? Well, this card came out. It wasn't showing itself. And then it did flip over. And it's the King of Wands. So we'll kind of do it a little cockeyed. And the reason it came out is because of the Nine of Pentacles. So, you know, there's always people in the world that are single. Some of them are hiding that they're still kind of more about themselves. Other people are becoming more independent and have learned some lessons not to be more about themselves, or thinking life is just about indulging in these things of the world, but then not making the high vibe emperors about making a decision. You know, there's people in the world that can't decide what they want to do. Do I want to do love? I don't know. Maybe I still want to be immature. Maybe there's someone who has more status or more money or more indulgent of me that I could be in a relationship with. You know, what is people's truth? And there's some people in the world that are still don't pick a path. With our dualistic nature, are we motivated to build our life and our foundation and our relationships on truth and love? Are we more about ourselves or the things of the world? And then there's the people who can't pick a path and can't decide. And if there's people who kind of want to keep going back and forth, don't want to pick a path, well, the problem is other people have picked a path. And some of the high vibe people have already seen the truth that some of these people don't want to pick a path, and they've moved on. Some of these people thought, oh, I don't know if I want to move forward with the loving people because they want me to be more independent and make better decisions in my life. Maybe I'll go indulge in people who are more about ego and image in the world. Well, those people could have seen that they were still kind of waffling, like, you know, I can't decide what I want to do. And some of those people aren't taking maybe action anymore towards them, and they've become independent of them. And for some of these people who won't pick a path, it kind of can get to be where nobody wants to be in a relationship with them. You haven't picked a path. What is your truth? You know, there could be some more worldly people that like to make their life about what they indulge in, or ego and image, or being more about themselves. And if this person, some of these people really are that type of person, there's people in the world that would like to be in a relationship with them because that's their truth too. But for some of these people, they just can't make a decision. And so the other people are like, you know, I'll go find someone else who wants to make their life about those things, or more about me, or more about the world, and I'll move forward with them to go get the justice I deserve. And the high vibe people are moving forward to find people more high vibe. And then there's the people who keep staying stuck. You know, eventually people have to figure out, what is my truth? And if they don't, people are going to keep walking away from them. And some of them who didn't want to be single and kind of maybe wanted to play both sides of the fence, maybe then can't find anybody to be in a relationship with them because they keep trying to play both sides. And they keep maybe thinking, some people don't want to make a decision. Like, I'll just wait to see kind of who decides to come towards me. And that could be a little bit, maybe some people who might be kind of full of themselves with the fire sign and the masculine card, which can be people in ego. Could be some people who are kind of full of themselves and kind of indulge themselves in thinking that people view them as someone that they would want to move forward with. And some people really could be quite attractive and alluring to people. But the shadowy people could be more in denial that people have moved on. And some of the people that they think, oh no, I'm sure they'll quit moving away from me and I'm sure they'll come back. High vibe people already know that some people have moved on and they don't want to be in a relationship with them either. And there could be people who would like to be in a relationship with some of the high vibe people. But those people, have to do this work within themselves. I know this person would require me to be more balanced within myself, that they're not I can't tempt them more in their fear, their insecurity, their lust, and their ego, and their competitive nature, and I can't manipulate them. They're too independent for that. And I could be attracted to them, but I would have to step up my game, and I'd have to quit thinking that I can manipulate someone to get them to do what I want, because this person isn't going to tolerate fools in a way, right? And I guess if they think it's worth it, and if they do this work within themselves, some of those people will work through it to listen to their intuition and realize that, gee, I could be in a relationship with someone who's all those things: authentic, loving, encouraging, just, fair, inspiring, that it would be fun to be in a relationship with them. But it's no longer more about just indulging myself in a relationship or being more about me. I would have to be authentic. And some people are already those kind of people. And those are, that's why it's like the high vibe people are like, I see the truth that some other people can be stuck in whatever it is that kind of manipulates them or their life situations, or can't decide if they want to be more about themselves or the world, or be more responsible or grow up and mature. You do you. I'm going to keep listening to my intuition and keep moving forward. And I believe the divine has a plan for my life. And I'm going to keep taking action in the world to overcome my own fears and insecurities. And eventually, if some of these people that I might know or whatever don't come towards me, I will be having new beginnings. And eventually, I won't even be interested in being in a relationship with them, because it's just not where I'm at anymore. And you kind of realize you're on different pages. But some shadowy people could have some more independent, shadowy people, whether in workplaces or wherever, have more independent people in their life who would like to move forward with them, have been being like these loving, encouraging people, and then eventually they see the truth. If this person was motivated to be more just and fairer and authentic and loving, they would be. And then those people work through their own fears about detaching from these people and moving forward. And some high vibe people have already done that. And then, as some of you could be doing that, then you're looking to go get new jobs, a new friendship, new relationships, and you meet some of those other people in the world that have went through similar life experiences, and they're like, oh, we've been waiting for someone like you to come apply here or to meet you. Yeah, we kind of knew people like that before too. And, we want to be in relationships with people who are more independent. And so some shadowy people who keep thinking people won't love and believe in themselves enough to detach from them could end up single. But they're single because they tried to manipulate other people. And some high vibe people became single from them because they know their worth and value. It's like, I would rather go live my life and enjoy my life with people in my life who are loving, encouraging, than put up with people in my life who I feel don't really want me to grow to my full potential, don't want me to love and believe in myself, Probably because they don't love and believe in themselves, or it would require them to do this inner work. So instead, they could try to do things to keep me stuck and confused and in shadowy energy. Well, people who love me shouldn't want me in my ego and in my competitive energy and not loving and believing in myself. That's not love. And eventually, some people see the truth of it and they move on. And then the people who they might end up staying in a relationship with are other people who might be in their Virgo energy. Doesn't mean they have to be a Virgo, but they're just in their Virgo energy more aligned with their worldly view of life. And it's like, hey, this looks victorious and successful. Yeah, this would be a good idea. I should get in a relationship with you. And like I say, a more shadowy relationship can be people willing to indulge other people because that's how they view relationships. Well, who seems to have more of what's valuable and important, or what we think is valuable and important? And if we're more about the world, well, who seems to have the status, the image, the power, the social clout, the money? Well, then you're the one who kind of runs the show. And some people might feel stuck in it, and it might be kind of unhealthy, but they rationalize it. It's like, well, I just don't want to be single, so I'll get in a relationship. Or this person has these things of the world that I want, and I really want those things, so I think it's just and fair. And other people are like, I am not willing to indulge an immature person and immature people for these things. I believe there's other opportunities. I think when shadowy people are creating a shadowy environment, I think that means high vibe energy is creating a positive environment. And if we listen to our intuition and we take the action to listen to our intuition, to emotionally detach and go find other opportunities, it's like I'm done trying to change other people. If they want to live their life that way, go live it with whoever you want to live it with. That's not my truth. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.